That's right. We are right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. And due to the technology and the world today, we actually are going to have former Congressman Jeff Duncan on the air with us today. This is so great to have him here. I couldn't think of a better person to come in and talk about his knowledge while he was in Congress. You know, he is retired and he's now a founding partner of Covenant Government Affairs. And of course, originally he did a lot of great things. He was in our South Carolina General Assembly, where he served from 2002 to 2010. He then went on and got elected to Congress. And I can tell you, I was there when he was sworn in. So that was pretty cool experience. We were just talking about that with Jeff off air, all the things. And now he does, as I said, founding partner for Covenant Government Affairs. He was on many committees while he was in Congress. He was there through 2000, retired in 2025. So he was in the House Homeland Security Committee, the House Foreign Affairs. He held leadership roles as chairman of the Oversight and Management Efficiency Subcommittee, chairman of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee, and was really big while he was in Congress. And I know it's still a big issue to him, was energy. So it is with great pleasure that I say welcome, Congressman Jeff Duncan. How are you doing today?
And I'm doing great. It's great to be back on your show. It's been too long.
Absolutely.
I've always said I love Ann. I love the I Love Ann show and the Ann Eller show. So thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have you here. I thought there were just so many issues. And, you know, one of the big things that you did while you were up there in Congress was the Countering Iran in the Western Hemisphere Act of 2012. And what was all that about? And I was hoping that you could, since you're outside looking in, maybe you could give us some perspective as to what all this means with Iran.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I ask everyone to keep our men and women, our military, overseas deployed that are engaged in these activities, or even on around the Middle East, keep them in your prayers. They are doing work that we charge them to do, and hopefully protecting the United States of America and our interests around the world. So the Countering Iran in the Western Hemisphere Act, really understanding while I was in Congress the Iranian activity, especially in Latin America. We know that there was a bombing in Buenos Aires, Argentina, of AMIA Center, which was a Jewish cultural center there in Buenos Aires. And it was the largest loss of life in the Western Hemisphere from an act of terrorism prior to 9/11. We know Iran's proxies, Hezbollah, hatched that bombing out of the tri-border region between Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. He's up in the northern part of Argentina. And there was a gentleman named Alberto Nisman, who was an investigator in Argentina that was investigating the Iranian ties, actually had all the goods, was prepared to present that to the Congress there in Argentina. And he was assassinated the night before the morning he was to testify, we believe, by Iranian operatives. And so there could have possibly been some tie-ins between the Argentine government and the Iranians at the time to try to cover that up. But we know also that Iran was building cultural centers throughout the South American, Latin American area. And that was really for recruitment, for activities. And that's always been a concern of mine. If something like what we're seeing transpire right now, we would see sleeper cells or activities in Latin America headed toward the United States of America, should we ever attack Iran. And so we asked the State Department to actually look at the activities around South America and in the Western Hemisphere, both in Canada, Mexico, the United States, and Latin America, just to really understand how our apparatus there at the State Department understand that Iran was very active in the hemisphere and understand why. The State Department under Barack Obama did a very limp-wristed, half-assed job on it. JO pointed that out and had them go back to the drawing board. And I spoke with Roberta Jacobson, who was the Assistant Secretary for the Western Hemisphere at the time, about their efforts. And they went back to the drawing board and really help America understand that Iran was in this hemisphere and that could pose a threat should something transpire like what we see today.
Well, you're talking about South America. What about Venezuela?
Yeah, Venezuela had huge ties. They're a Latin American country, had huge ties with Iran. There were flights that went from Caracas to Tehran over and over. There was a very close tie there. It's kind of ironic that we see these steps take place in the order that they did, deposing or taking out Maduro down there in Venezuela, solidifying that. That could have been part of the issue could have been to negate any Iranian activity in this hemisphere in Venezuela prior to launching this attack on Tehran.
Yeah, I think, we look at this today and we've been through, well, that was back in 2012. So we've had Obama and then we had then we had Trump, and then we had Biden, and now we have Trump. What do you think about the fact that Trump actually has gone in and done this?
Well, I'm just glad we have a president with resolve. We talk off the air, and I'll mention it again. We both lived this for 47 years since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and Iran was a very westernized country. Women had freedom, had the right to vote, had all these things. Businesses could start up without the blessing of a theocracy, and then we saw the Ayatollah under this theocracy really rule Iran with a strong hand, really put a lot of limits on the freedoms of Iranians. And many of us have wanted to see Iran, rise up. Several times they've had the opportunity, and it's been quashed by the theocracy Ayatollah. And so I have high hopes for Iran returning to a modern Iran and a modern world, and not being dictated with women wear burqas, not being able to own businesses or vote or participate in government, that sort of thing. So I would love to see more of a UAE structure in Iran where the women participate in government and have more freedoms. This president understood the threat of Iran, both from its ballistic missile and nuclear aspirations. But we also understand that Americans have died for 47 years at the hands of Iran and its proxies, where Americans have been targeted. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism around the world. They have been responsible for the Mumbai attack on the hotel, from bombings and attacks on military installations and bases in Iraq and Syria and other places. We've seen their proxies launch missiles into an ally, Israel, over and over and over, both from Gaza, but also from Syria, from Lebanon, from even Yemen, as far away as that is, with the Houthis. So they have been attacked. They're an ally. Americans have lost their lives in those attacks as well, I believe. So we know the Iranian terrorist proxies, funded by Iran, funded possibly by the money that the United States returned to Iran under Barack Obama and Joe Biden, could have been used to help fund some of those operations. It was time to take out that theocracy and shore up American interest and American safety around the Middle East, around the globe.
Yeah, they've been talking on the news about, it took out 40, then I think they took out 49. Would you want to go to a meeting? I mean, I'm making a little joke, a little levity here. If somebody called you and said, we're going to select the next leader, would you go to that meeting right now?
I don't think I would. I don't think any of the Iranians are, but there are aspirational guys over there that lead the country and the next generation. Maybe they'll show up, but they show up under the eyes of the American military, the Israeli military, and they are targets. And so hopefully we'll see some stability in Iran. I've called for the Iranian people to rise up and overthrow this government themselves and take over. I think that would be a great time. I think the time is right for that.
Yeah, they're talking about, and I don't know how much you know about this, but they're talking about all the drones that Iran has, and that could really be hard on our military because they are using those anywhere. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a new age of warfare where drones are used by both sides, and these are unmanned guided drones that can be guided from afar. They can be pre-programmed and hit installations or civilian targets. And the fortunate thing is the United States military knows where most of those drone locations are. They're taking them out systematically. They're limiting the ability of Iran to manufacture more drones that can be used that way. But we saw the big drones that went into Israel. Most of those were taken out through air defenses in Israel back last year. So um, I worry about the drones, but I see that number diminishing. I see America taking air superiority over the skies in Iran. And once that happens, once we truly have air superiority, we'll be able to shoot those things down.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I think another part of this, of course, is the energy. And of course, this is where we get into your expertise with energy and all. I noticed gas here in South Carolina went from 259 to 285. They're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. Is tankers going to move up and down it? Do you think that this is a long term effect or just a short term effect, Jeff?
Well, I think we've all known for a very, very long time that Strait of Hormuz was a choke point. This could be an issue if Iran was under attack. They could try to shut down the strait. They closed it a couple of other times, but not for long. Iran needs to move its oil as well if they're going to have a viable economy, and they move the oil through the Persian Gulf just like a lot of other countries do. So, yes, it is a concern. Yes, gas prices have gone up based on volatility of oil markets across the world, but the United States pumping oil, and we get oil from a lot of different places. So I don't see this dramatic return to $4 a gallon gasoline. What we are going to see, as we do under any conflict, we're going to see oil prices go up, and but we're going to keep producing energy in America, and we're going to be self-sufficient. Hope under this administration. Drill, baby, drill is a reality. We're seeing that return in the U.S. to natural gas and oil being produced here in the country.
Yes, and I think Trump was talking about clean coal today too, right?
Well, clean coal, all energy sources, the guy is really an all of the above guy, really helping uranium mining, helping nuclear energy with what the government's doing to set up our nuclear energy, whether it's advanced reactors or traditional light water reactors like we saw down at Plant Vogtle, and hopefully we'll see restarted down at DC summer in South Carolina with the Stanton Cooper project. But one thing, the Strait of Hormuz and the oil disruption in the Persian Gulf, one thing it affects, and that is one of our adversaries, that's China. They get a lot of their oil from both Venezuela and China. Now the United States controls oil production and delivery out of Venezuela, and we see disruptions in the Persian Gulf. That's going to hurt our adversaries. And I'm not saying that's a goal of the Trump administration, but it is a positive result. It will help in the long run the United States sector.
What do you think about the fact? Are you a little surprised that China is just standing back and not doing anything?
I don't know that they're standing back. I think they have sent some planes into Iran to try to help them with some of their military components, whether it's missiles or other things. That concerns me. But they have been kind of quiet as far as their vocalization on the floor. I think in North Korea, Kim Jong Un has been, I think, louder than the Chinese have. You have to worry about a lot of different fronts. You have to worry about Taiwan as kind of look at an opportunity here with our attention focused on Iran and the Middle East. And they, threaten Taiwan. There's a lot of different threats around the world. We always have to keep our eyes on.
And how do you think this will affect Russia and Ukraine? Do you think Russia will take a pause or not?
We've had attempted peace negotiations there. The fact is, Ukraine doesn't want to give up a lot of territory. Russia wants a lot of the territory they consider historic territory there. Quite a peace challenge when you have two sides kind of bullheaded and locked down on what they want in a peace settlement. So I think the war will just continue there in Ukraine for a while we're dealing with this Iranian situation. I don't know that things will change there, but I could be wrong there. I don't get the security briefings that I used to get when I was in Congress.
Well, that brings up another topic. Are you glad you're not there anymore?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of dysfunction going on. We're seeing a lot of members start to retire. I think there's 35 Republicans now have announced that they're retiring after this session of Congress. Some of them have just been there a long time, we're ready to go. But a lot of the dysfunction there in Congress has led to their decision. I remember when I made my decision, um, it was during one of the speaker elections, sitting in a room, Ways and Means Committee room at 9 o'clock at night, listening to all the nominating speeches for yet another candidate before we decided on Mike Johnson as speaker. And I took a yellow pad out. I drew a line down the middle. I wrote the pros and cons at the top and made a list of pros of serving in Congress and cons of serving in Congress. And the cons outweighed the pros by a large margin. And that's when I really just started deciding that I want to do this.
I understand. And how do you think Mike Johnson's done in that situation? I mean, he's had a really tough time, hasn't he? What do you think?
He has. I mean, any speaker with slim margins like he's got, 1 or 2 vote margins, have a tough time legislating. And even on the Republican side, we have a lot of free thinkers out there, independent businessmen that came to Congress with a lot of knowledge, a lot of convictions. And they're not just going to vote to spend money willy-nilly. They're going to try to rein in, this growth of government that we've seen, a lot of things that I attempted to do. And they lock down on some spending issues. And they're going to do the right thing, but it makes it very, very difficult for any speaker, Mike Johnson or whoever it would be, to govern the House of Representatives with those slim margins.
Exactly. And what about, go ahead.
I think Mike has done a good job given the circumstances. He's a fine man and somebody out supported, somebody who didn't want the job, wasn't one of the first names that was brought up during the speaker election. He was like where we landed, but I think he's done a good job given the circumstances. He's made some mistakes. He's had some conflict, but all in all, I think he's done a good job given the circumstances.
I'm surprised he hasn't aged more, Jeff.
It's funny you say that. I saw him at a press conference today, and I noticed more gray hair.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I know it weighs on him.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine living that day in and day out. Well, what about rare earth minerals? Since we need those, what can you tell us about those? Did I read something that there are more here in the United States than what we think?
Absolutely. I mean, we're blessed in this country with a lot of natural resources, and rare earth minerals that we need are in abundance. It's just trying to change some of the antiquated mining laws and some laws that have kept some of the areas where these elements are have been taken off the table. They've been set up in national monuments and different wilderness areas. And then past administrations have really blocked mining for copper and other rare earths. And so I think you're seeing Congress and the administration do a lot of things to change and get us back to where we're self-sufficient, so to speak, in the rare earths that we need to make your phone work. It makes your car batteries work. It makes a lot of the widgets we use work. It makes the high density magnets that we use in our military aircraft that are permanent high density magnets that take a certain kind of rare earth. And so we're seeing the development of those mines and the processing that it takes to separate those from the dirt and isolate them so they can be sent to the refiners to be made into the products that we need.
Yeah, I understood we were sending a lot to China to get them refined. Was that true? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a company called Mountain Pass, which is in California, and they send a lot of their rare earths, especially the ones that go in the high density magnets. They send them to China to be refined because China does it the old-fashioned way in big open pits with a lot of chemicals, a lot of environmentally insensitive practices, and it was just cheaper to have them do it. But we're seeing a lot of that processing start to come back to the U.S. as processing facilities, state-of-the-art, closed-loop processing that are environmentally sensitive on the chemical side, reclaim all that, not just dump it in the ground. We see that coming back to the U.S. I think the president wants to limit our dependence on China for so much, whether it's the rare earth minerals or other things. He's trying to bring that manufacturing processing back to the United States of America.
And what about the data centers? You know, there's a lot of conversation about the energy and everything that they take. And you know, I remember one of the things you and I used to talk about was the grid. And you know, when we look at energy and the amount of energy that a data center takes, I mean, in Spartanburg, they just defeated one that was going to go there. They just defeated, the people defeated it. It's now going to someplace in North Carolina. What is your opinion about the data centers and the energy that it takes? How should that be handled?
Yeah, the data centers require a large amount of energy, and it has to be 24/7, 365. They cannot be without the power supply, or they lose the data. So they have to have that continuity of power. So they're looking at where they locate based on the power generation, whether the power is available, the electricity is available by the generators. And you're probably going to see some of these data centers eventually set up in very remote areas where we have localized power generated by a small modular reactor, or small modular reactors backed up by some gas-fired generation, natural gas-fired generation. So why South Carolina looks attractive is because of BC Summer. They see that those reactors are going to be built there. We're going to have a surplus of power. We're going to meet all of our needs as a state, but we're also going to have some surplus that be sold to the data centers, and they're willing to pay a higher price for that power as well. So it makes it attractive for the utility. There's a lot of pushback just because of the scope and size of data centers. A lot of folks say there's noise, whether it's a hum or whatnot. People are concerned that they're going to lose power because the data center is going to take it. There's a lot of concerns there that it'll be netted out. I mean, there haven't been a lot of data centers that have been built yet, and the ones that have are successful and haven't been a drain on the grid. But that is a real fear of Americans on whether they're going to gobble up all the power.
You know, when we talk about energy and everything, what do you think the status is? I mean, do we have enough energy? And we're talking about the grid and making it secure and everything. Have we made those type of changes that we should have made?
Well, first thing we need is grid hardening. We need to make sure that our grid is safe from a natural or man-made electromagnetic pulse or EMP. We need to make sure that they're secure from terrorist attacks, whether that's cyber attacks or whether that's a physical attack like we saw in North Carolina a number of years ago. That's one thing. And then we just need to make sure that the grid power delivery is where it's needed. There's a big push to deliver power from renewable sources to states that want more renewable. I believe we've got enough natural resources to generate power. I'm very bullish on natural gas as a power generation source, but the Biden administration tried to thwart, stop, and overregulate new generation being built, natural gas-fired generation being built. The Trump administration tried to reverse course on that and allow more natural gas generation to be built. And then we see this desire for more traditional, AP 1000 light water reactors to be built like we have in South Carolina at Oconee or Catawba or Robinson or BC Summer. So there's a big push to get back to building more traditional nuclear power. At the same time, looking at advanced reactors, whether they're small modular reactors, whether looking at micro reactors that can be localized for generation at industrial sites or data centers. There's a lot going on in the nuclear field. At the same time, we kind of got away from enriching uranium in this country. We started buying enriched uranium from Russia. But while I was in Congress, we stopped the importation of enriched uranium from Russia to help stand up an American U.S. Uranium enrichment presence. And so we have to mine uranium, we have to process uranium, then we have to enrich it, we have to turn it into fuel pellets, put it in fuel rods, and sell those rods to the nuclear industry. So there's a lot that goes into nuclear power, and we have the ability to do it here. We just have let some of that industry go, and now we're trying to claim it back.
And what about the nuclear waste? I mean, I remember, wasn't it Yucca Mountain? Am I right on that? That we were sending a lot there, or they were trying to send it here?
Well, Yucca Mountain was never fully completed, even though it's the law of the land to take all of the nuclear waste to Yucca Mountain, both commercial waste and defense waste. Barack Obama shut down Yucca Mountain as a favor to Harry Reid from Nevada, Senator Reid. And so Yucca Mountain is sort of in mothballs. I've been there, and we're going to store waste anywhere. I can't think of a better place. But short of Yucca Mountain being a long-term repository for nuclear waste, we now have the ability to start reprocessing that waste to create more fuel and pull more isotopes out of it for medical purposes, and really reduce that waste down to almost nothing through recycling or reprocessing. And so right now, the Department of Energy has put out an RFI, request for information, from states to look at locating those reprocessing, recycling centers in the state to deal with some of that waste. And South Carolina is actually one of the states that's submitting an application for an RFI there. And if we can do that around the Savannah River site, and that would help us start reprocessing some of the what we call defense waste at the Savannah River sites and that highly radioactive stuff, reduce that waste, but then start taking commercial waste from the reactors, reprocessing that so it can be used back in the reactors. South Carolina has the technology. We've got a great site there at SRS, and I would love to see South Carolina be involved.
Wow. Well, see, I'm glad I had you on here today. We've learned a lot this afternoon. I have had a couple of people say, make sure he knows that we miss you.
Well, I miss you guys, and I miss being your congressman, but I tell you what, Sherry Biggs is doing a great job. She's very well respected up in the halls of Congress with her colleagues, and I think she's done a good job with outreach and constituent service back in the district, and she's doing a good job on the committee she's on. So I think she's got a future there, and I think she's a hard worker.
She is a very hard worker. Yeah, she used to say on the radio when she came on, nobody would outwork her. And I believe that is probably true.
Well, I can attest to that. I mean, she's got a great staff too. She kept some of my staff on, and my chief of staff, Rick Atkins, is her chief, and she kept a number of others and in the district and here in Washington to help with continuity. And it's been really seamless, and she's done a great job. The staff's done a great job.
That's right. Well, you know what? This has been awesome to have you on the radio. Is there anything you would like to tell the folks here this afternoon?
Again, I'll go back to our men and women in the military. Just keep them in your prayers. Keep our president and Congress in their prayers. DHS is still shut down, and they need to open that back up because that's a lot of our internal national security apparatus there. So we need to fund that and let DHS do its job. Keep us safe, especially at a time where we may have sleeper cells and other people in the country that want to do us harm. So that's important. But I think we'll get it right. I think we'll get over this hump with Iran, and I think the world will be safer, at least for the rest of my lifetime.
How long you living, Jeff?
Hopefully a long time. I want to stay safe while I am left.
I understand. That was just a joke. Anyways, I'm going to let you go, and love to have you back sometime in the future if you join us.
Absolutely. You call me anytime, we'll try to work it out.
All right. Thank you so much, former Congressman Jeff Duncan, and founding partner of Covenant for Government Affairs. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thanks, Ann.
All right. Bye-bye. I'm going to let you go. Thank you. All right. We are right here on WCRS, and I am saying that this has been a great conversation that we've had this afternoon with Congressman Jeff Duncan. I do want to tell you that this, of course, is available on Facebook, and then we'll go to our website, so you'll be able to go back and see it, or if you had to step away, you can hear, of course, the whole thing, just like everything that I do right here today. I want to tell you that this afternoon I had a great lunch over there at the Greenwood Country Club, and told a little bit about the story of Ann and Jeff, and it was a lot of fun, and relayed. In fact, one of the things I relayed was sitting up there in Jeff Duncan's desk on the person side, not the guest side. I actually got to sit there, and we broadcasted all the way back here to South Carolina. Technology sure has changed. What we could do today and what we could do then sure is a lot different. But we were still cutting edge at the time. So that was a good conversation that I had today. I did also notice, don't know if you've seen this yet, but Lou Holtz just died today. And that is, of course, another legend that has left us. So of all the things that are out there, we're dealing, of course, Crockett, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm just going to touch on this one. Whatever her name is, Crockett concedes she was running for Senate. She thought she had a knock on it. Kamala Harris had endorsed her at the very last minute on the Democratic side, and she lost to, what is his name? Taka something or other. So that's going to be an interesting race in Texas. For those that are following politics, that one is going to be an interesting race because the runoff on the Republican side is for Cornyn, who is currently is a senator, versus Paxton, who is I think the Attorney General for Texas. That's going to be a very interesting race. Here in South Carolina, I tell you what, I talked about it this morning. I might just mention it again this afternoon if you didn't get to hear this morning. Judge Few on the South Carolina Supreme Court has stepped down. They were supposed to vote on that today, and because he stepped down, they are going to have to go back and go through the process again. Probably what is going to happen is that he will not step down until they vote on another South Carolina Supreme Court justice. I want to say that I think what has happened there just shows you what a travesty and how controlling the legislature is here in South Carolina. Are there really three branches here in South Carolina? I would have to say no. In fact, I'm going to say heck no, there are not. The very fact that Jay Lucas, who was the former House Speaker of the House, had pretty much put locks on getting this role, even though he had no judicial, he's a lawyer, but he has not been a judge, and had pretty much locked up the votes. The only thing to stop him was for Judge Few to step down. So this is a travesty. This shows you why the judicial system, how we pick our judges, how they are elected, all that needs to be looked at. There's been some movement on that. I don't think enough movement on that. But that is an issue that I think definitely needs more done on it. So, but I wanted to mention that because I think that one is an important issue to watch. When a judge who has been a good judge is forced out because one side didn't like the fact that he didn't support the heartbeat bill the first time through. Now, he did support it the second time through, and in truth, he probably did the state a favor because he made sure that the law that they passed would stand up in the courts. And for that, he should be congratulated instead of castorized. So that's one issue. Another issue that I think you're going to want to know about, and this is just because we have a few minutes here at the end, I'm going to talk about state senators are asking an oversight agency to investigate the education department use of K through 12 school choice scholarships for homeschooling expenses. You may remember, if you tune in on the morning show, you may remember that we talked about this. Ellen Weaver, in fact, had just been here in town the middle of February. Actually, I think it was on President's Day she was here, and she went back and got grilled by the senators down there because Ellen Weaver made her agency, the Department of Education here, to give homeschooling students taxpayer money for their education needs, despite legislators explicitly saying they were excluded from the program. So this has been an ongoing issue, and now it looks like the senators are saying there's a real trust problem here in the Department of Education. Ellen Weaver is up for election in the fall here, so this is going to be an interesting case to play out. Senators want numbers on how many students are using the money for schooling at home. Now, I am not going to say that we shouldn't allow homeschooling. It's just those were the parameters that were set up when they put the voucher system out there. So it really is rather interesting that Ellen Weaver and her team decided to just ignore it. Weaver previously said 1,182 students indicated they would use the money for some sort of schooling at home, but some have since switched to private school, so she didn't know how many actually used it for that purpose. She could not give numbers of how many students learned from home using the funds during the program's initial year. So Senator Hembree said Tuesday he's really concerned about the lack of hard data overall involving the scholarship money, but specifically this Unbundler program. He's requesting a review by the Legislative Audit Council, which investigates agencies at legislators' requests. The goal is not to try to tear it up, but really try to make it stronger, Senator Hembree said. So this is something that's going to be one to watch, since it involves our school children and how they are being educated. So under the law signed last year that revamped the program, the legislature is supposed to fund at least 15,000 scholarships in the coming school year. Until legislators have a more solid idea of the numbers involved, Senator Hembree said he might propose capping the program at 10,000 students for the second year. But the legislature could insert a clause in the state budget to put the schedule increase on hold. So, of course, they're heavy into budgeting right now, heavy into budgeting season right now. So this will be one, I think, personally, to watch. So that's another thing that's going on. I would also like to mention the fact that the Greenwood Genetics Center has just got a huge grant to work on finding, I won't say, it's not really, I guess we shouldn't really say a cure, but yeah, it is kind of a cure or a fix for Alzheimer's disease through the federal government. So this is a $1.1 million for Alzheimer's research. I also talked about this morning. I just wanted to mention it because I think it's huge for the Greenwood Genetics Center, but it's also huge for Greenwood. This is something that can totally change how we are able to treat Alzheimer's disease, and I believe it was Lou Gehrig's disease. So that is something that I think all of us worry about, particularly the Alzheimer's. We worry about that. And so to have a way to get into the energy, that's what this is all about, getting into the energy of the cells. And they're actually going to be able to buy some really super duper microscope that can see what is actually happening way in the cells. So I think that's a pretty cool thing, and I am glad to see that we are going to have something like this in our state, and particularly right here in Greenwood. So as we move forward here, it's 5:45 in the afternoon. It's been a beautiful day, I'm telling you. Did you get out and enjoy any of it? it says, let's see, what else shall we talk about here? I got a couple more things we could talk about. There are some good events coming up. I think I'm actually going to go over to Delahow this weekend. They're having some type of ag fest. They're going to be showing off all their animals, their poultry, the swine, the chickens. They're going to be showing all that off. And I am supposed to be getting together, not mainly on Saturday, but I'm going mainly to check out the campus because we're going to be actually going down and doing some live video from right down there, doing some shows from down there. Susan Jones, who heads up the Bee Buzzin' program down there, is not going to be there, but I'm still going to talk to her students down there. So this is an opportunity. I think I am going to do that, and if I do that, FYI, I'm probably not, I repeat, not going to have a show Saturday morning. I haven't made a firm decision. I might have a short show and then head on down, but I really want to go down there and see what's going on. And Chris just wanted you to know the Lander Film Festival is on March 21st at the Lander Cultural Center. One of the things that they are doing right now, those that are competing have been given a short, a film to shoot, and then they will be judged on that. You know, the Lander Film Festival really has become a pretty big deal here for Lander and for South Carolina. So I think that is very, very terrific. Other things that are going to be going on, the Fiddle and Bow is going to have has so much going on over there. If you haven't checked out the Fiddle and Bow, I highly recommend that you go on to their Facebook page and check out. They've got, they constantly have really cool people there. You know, last week we had, we went and saw Linda Gale Lewis, a sister of Jerry Lee Lewis. I posted videos, posted the show. Oh my God, it was so great. And then we had a cool interview with her that we played on the show. Now that is on our website, WCRS 1450am.net. What else is going on that is going on next Thursday on, what is it, the 12th? It's next Thursday. I don't have my calendar here. Next Thursday. Anyways, it's next Thursday at the Inn on the Square. Greenwood Performing Arts is going to be doing bourbon, blues, and boots. And we had the pleasure of having the bourbon guys and the blues lady right here on the air with us. We had E.G. Kite is coming back to town. She has come to the last two blues cruises here in July, but I'm not sure. I don't think she's coming back this year, but she did come to two of them, so many of you may be familiar with her. She's played with B.B. King, Merle Haggard. That's all I can think of, right? But her repertoire and the people that she's worked with in her life are huge. And so she will be at the Inn on the Square Thursday evening. Now, I'm going to be there. I hope you're going to be there. The Bourbon guys, Wesley Timmerman, Tom Dorn, were both here on that show that same day. We had a great time talking about bourbon. No, we didn't taste any bourbon live on the air. We just talked about it and all the cool things, all the stories and everything. So if you'd like to go to that show, you need to either get your tickets at the Art Center. They didn't have many left, I do know that, but go to the Art Center, check and see if they've got tickets there, or you can order them online at Greenwood Performing Arts. That's greenwoodperformingarts.org. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you get your tickets for that. It is going to be a fun night. You can buy additional flights of bourbon. You get to taste all these different types of bourbon. And it really is an opportunity to see what you like in bourbon. There you go. So come on out. They're going to have some delicious appetizers. I will say this, I will be taking Pepsi AC because they sound pretty interesting, pretty interesting. But it's all going to be at the Inn on the Square, so it's really going to be a great night out there. That starts at 6 o'clock. I think the music and all starts at 7. But come on out and get your tickets for that. You'll be glad you did. So that's another event going on. Also, if this weather is making you say, I'd like to do some gardening, you should check out the Greenwood Gardening Monday, March 16th from 6 to 7 at the American Veterans Auditorium, which is, of course, the auditorium at the library. It's going to be a very fun event. You do have to register for that event, and you go to the greenwoodlibrary.org and then look for the connection to that. Want to know how to grow your own vegetables? They'll be doing Greenwood gardening, vegetable gardening basics, and learn how to prepare your garden plot and successfully grow popular vegetable varieties. So Stephanie Turner, a favorite right here on WCRS, will be teaching that. She, of course, is with the Clemson Extension Office. So it also says adults only. Please do not sign up any children or teenagers or bring them with you to this event. So they really want to, what shall I say, get serious? I think they want to get serious. By the way, if you want to find seeds at I think they give them away at the Greenwood Library. They have an old card library, and they've taken it and they filled it up with seeds. So you can get free seeds right there. You only take what you need, what you think you're going to use, and then you don't have to have the cost of seeds. So that's pretty darn neat too. The event down there at the De La Howe is the South Carolina Governor School for Agriculture. They are having show times for everything from dairy goats to breeding goats to dairy cattle, poultry showmanship, that's chickens, swine, and equine. So they're going to have all this going on all around. They'll even have rabbits. Yep, rabbits. So I just think it would be fun to go down there and see what is happening down there and get a real feel for it. I've met some of the people. Some of you may remember I did a huge show with the bees down there at the State Fair. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting down there for that this Saturday. Plant sales are already being planned. The only thing I would say about plant sales is wait until the plant sales. A lot of people, I saw somebody at Lowe's the other night, they were hauling out plants. I said, do you think they're going to live? She goes, no. I was like, okay. All right. Now, if you decided you needed to get healthy and you haven't taken advantage of any of the specials that the YMCA has had going on, you can share the love of reading with a children's book drive. During the month of March, pay $0 joiner's fee. That's right. If you are, what does it say? If you are a current member, let's see, I can't read it. What does it say here? Let's see what it says down here below. New members bring a new book and your joiner's fee is waived. Current members donate a new book to receive a bookmark and be entered to win a free gift. If you're already a member, you know what a good deal the Y is. So make sure you check that out. This is an opportunity for them to donate brand new books. They need to be brand new. So they are going to use those to support our youth development programs. So this is an opportunity to help out and pay a whole lot less and still get the opportunity to try out the Y. You know, I can't think of any other place with the YMCA that has as many different programs, as much variety, even has childcare while you're working out. Who would think that you would have all these possibilities? And they will even help you understand how to use the equipment. They don't just say, there it is, figure it out. They actually show you how to use it. So please check out the YMCA. You'll be glad you did. And don't forget, if you are into quick in and out workout routines, check out the Uptown YMCA. They have all the equipment. It is a beautiful facility, and it is great for those that want to get in and get out, get their exercising, and if you want to do small group training, they have a great staff there that's able to do that too. So that is another possibility here. Most of the plant sales aren't coming up till April, just for the record. I'm afraid everybody is going to get skunked. I mean, we got beautiful weather next week. We got beautiful weather right now. I am really pumped about this. The 3rd annual Greenwood Duck and Jeep Jam is coming up Saturday, April 11th. That is from 3 to 8 out there at the Greenwood County Farmers Market. So this will be a lot of fun to come out there. The money raised for this will go to the South Carolina Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics and the Special Olympics. This event is very special to our law enforcement. There's going to be Jeeps galore, food vendors, activities for the whole family, and live music. We're going to let you in a little secret, it says. This is going to be the event of the year so far. And we're going to find out next week, I guess, who's going to be their musical guest. This is supposed to be huge. It says, it doesn't matter if you have a Jeep, come on over for free entertainment. For those Jeep heads, get ready and come on out and have a good time. So please put that on your calendar. That is on April 11th. Nothing like moving the year too fast, Ann. That's right. All right, so that's a little bit about things that I know that are going on. They're going to have at Paris Mountain, Green is Growing, a get into St. Patrick's Day spirit with a guided lake hike and hands-on crafts from 10 to 11 over at the Picnic Flats parking lot. And that'll be $6 per person. Also, I believe I saw, I don't have it here in front of me, but I believe I saw that this Saturday is Bird Watching Saturday out there at the 96 Historic Site. We'll see if we don't have more information on that tomorrow. And again, I want to talk about this because I think this is so terrific that Amber Gettings Klein has been photographing the bald eagles out there at the lake, Her Majesty and Liberty. And I love seeing her pictures and getting her little comments about them. I think it's really great. But somebody, Stuart Whitner Kennemore, always dreamt of writing a children's book, and she actually approached Amber about doing it about the eagles, the bald eagles. And so there are pictures in Amy's book of the eagles, and then Stuart Whitner Kennemore wrote a book, and they are actually going to have a book signing this Sunday, March 8th, from 3 to 5 out there at the Break on the Lake. So this is an amazing opportunity. Now, if you don't get to go to the Break on the Lake, you can actually order the book on Amazon. It is the named a book. What did they name the book? Oh, what is the name of the book, Anne? Royalty on the Lake. Royalty on the Lake. So if you'd like to just go ahead and order it, you certainly can do that too. So that is a bunch of stuff going on. Guess what? It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to take a break. I think I'm going to take a break. I've had a good day today. Talking out at the Women's Club was very nice. They actually said I was funny. Imagine that! Yeah, I was doing okay till one lady said to me, "Ann, give us one of your special voices." I was like, "What do you mean?" Tried to come up with something, but I should have done my old lady voice. But anyways, we'll save that for another day. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you have a great night, and we could do just a real quick check of the weather. What's the weather? It's beautiful out there. I'm going to have to get back out there again. Right now, the weather out there says that it is... Come on, Sabi, give me the answer. God, it was up to 70 degrees. I don't know. Has it? 73 right now. Feels like 73. And we have had a beautiful day. It was a high of 77. Tonight's going to be a low of 53. Thursday, we're going to have a ditto day. High of 77, low of 58. Looks like we may have some areas of fog early, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. Friday, high of 81, low of 62, and cloudy skies early, followed by partial clearing. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High of 81 on Friday. Saturday, a high of 79, low of 62. Sunday, a high of 78 and a low of 58. So there you go. That's going to do it for me. That's a wrap. Let's cue the curtain, say I do, then go feed Penny, because she's looking at me like I'm going to eat your arm if you don't feed me soon. That's going to do it for me. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great night. This is WCRS Radio.